Good morning, evening, afternoon, or whenever you happen to be listening. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of the Dear John podcast. I am your host, John Moody, podcasting in a walk-in closet somewhere in Atwater Village, California. How was your week, everybody? Couple things this weekend. We just getting back. We had NBA All-Star Weekend. Didn't really do too much of anything other than run into Kevin Durant outside of Tao Restaurant. And that was Thursday night, well before the weekend. But other than that, and actually watch the All-Star game. And listen, people get mad at LeBron for for being an All-Star, winning the MVP. First, they thought he wasn't taking it seriously enough. And then when he won, they're like, oh, he acting like it's a big deal. It's funny how we pick out players, athletes or whoever else. And I guess we all have who we like and who we don't like. But, man, when you don't like somebody, you really find a reason to get after them. And when you like them, you make all kind of excuses for their behavior. But it was interesting. Enjoy watching the game. It was fun. They had the new format, which was Steph versus LeBron. So I guess they'll be doing that with, the whoever gets the most votes on each conference, I guess, is, going to get to choose who they play with. It was pretty cool. And then, of course, last weekend was the opening of the Black Panther. I learned a lot this weekend, and it's not so much the movie. It's talking to other men and women after the movie, and now it seems that a big movie opening is the equivalent of Christmas, New Year's Eve, or Valentine's Day, in that there is significance put upon the person you go see it with, which is used to determine what that person means to you. So, you know how it is. It's like, you know how much somebody means to you. Who they hanging out with on New Year's Eve, or who they hanging out with Christmas, or who they seeing on Valentine's Day. Well, now if there's a big movie release, people get their feelings hurt if you are not the person that goes to see it and experience it with them first. So I did learn that over the weekend. But yeah, anyway, that's about it. I'm coming down with a bit of a cold. Don't know if y'all can tell in the voice. Had a long week in a couple days where I was at work at like 6 in the morning, didn't get home till almost 6 at night, and did Brandon Boland's live stream. That was Wednesday. No, that was Tuesday night. I did Brandon's live stream, and that was fun. If you know Brandon Boland on Facebook, check out his Dark Room live streams, which usually happens around 8 o'clock on weekdays. Sometimes he'll do 2, sometimes he'll do one at 8, and other times he'll do one at midnight. Do the whole thing. I do, because I find it very entertaining and funny. And again, he had me on, so, he's got good judgment as well. Anyway, I did that and got about 3 hours sleep and tried working the next day, and then just came down with a cold. I don't think you catch colds from not getting enough sleep, but especially the same day you didn't get enough sleep. But it just feels like my resistance or whatever was worn down, and now I kind of got like the sniffles and minor congestion. So y'all just bear with me. Anyway, let's get into this, the Dear John podcast. And again, if you have letters of advice, you can send them to dearjohnpodcast@gmail.com. All right, first email. Dear John, my dude does not want to go see Black Panther because he has other movies on his list that he hasn't seen. Do you think we're compatible? All right, we're just talking about the Black Panther, and we got our first question is Black Panther related. All right, so her dude does not want to go see Black Panther because he says he has other movies on his list and he hasn't seen, and she wants to know if they're compatible. I'll tell you what, you are 100% not compatible. All right, you need to leave this dude immediately. Well, no, don't leave immediately. Before you break up with him, make sure he takes you to see Black Panther. And I don't care if he don't want it. He ain't got to see it. Have him buy you a ticket to go see Black Panther. Then you go see Black Panther and let him go see whatever the hell it is he want to see. And what you need to do is you need to go in there, watch Black Panther, maybe find a dude sitting by himself and get you a new boo. Because this just ain't going to work. Look, there's only 2 reasons he hasn't taken you to see Black Panther. And, it's got to be because he's either taking other women to see the movie. And that would mean he had to take at least 5 women, or at least gone 5 other times, because ain't no way in the world you're gonna get tired of Black Panther, before you've seen it 5 times. I've only seen it once. I'm gonna go back at least 2 more times, probably just 1 more time, but I'm just saying I could go back 3 or 4 more times. So something's up with him. And the only other reason that he would not be interested in seeing Black Panther is if he's just very, very, very whack. All right, drop that dude after he's taking you to Wakanda. All right, and for those of you, again, I didn't know spoiler alerts or whatever, just some advice on Black Panther. All right, let's get to the next email. Dear John, I have a man wig. I've been dating a woman for 2 months. At what point should I tell her my hair is an illusion? Well, look, man, there is an appropriate time for you to tell her this, because at some point you're going to have to let her know. So you just have to make sure that you're at the right point in your relationship. It's the right time, because time is everything on these things, okay? So you got to be in a right point in your relationship, and you have to be careful not to tell her before this. The best time to tell her, this new woman of yours, that you have a man wig is when you're absolutely sure that you want to lose any respect she has for you, okay? Because if you tell a woman that you got a man wig or toupee, they're just going to lose a certain amount of respect for you. That's just how it is. Now, she may already know, okay? And if she already knows and loves you anyway, that's the woman you hold on to forever, because she really, 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 really loves you. It's either that or that the other men in her life have been so terrible that by comparison you're not as bad. So you having like one of, and I think I know what you're talking about, like that Steve Harvey man wig where they, and I've been seeing the things on Facebook or whatever where they attach the hair around the, look, man, I mean, she had to have dated some really bad dudes before. You know, I'm talking like drug addicts, jailbirds, ne'er-do-wells, arsonists, kitten hunters, necrophiliacs, mouth breathers, toothless dudes who dropped out of the 3rd grade, puppy phobes, dudes who play checkers by themselves, dudes who collect their knee scabs. Compared to those guys, you ain't that bad. You're just not that bad compared to them. Listen, when I started losing my hair, and I was young, I was really young when I started losing my hair, I was told that one of the things I could do to make my hair look fuller was to use a spray. It's like this spray you spray. It's like a black spray that you're supposed to spray on your scalp to fool people. And I decided right then and there at that young age to make a decision that a mature man would have to make, and I shaved my head. And it was the right decision, and I have to say it was a very mature decision for an 8-year-old to make, because that's how old I was when I started losing my hair and shaved my head. All right, next email. Dear John, I'm really starting to think that my woman would win if we got into a fight. Should I leave her now to spare embarrassment, or wait until she actually beats the shit out of me because she thinks I'm cheating, or just because she wants to control the remote control? All right, we got to say this first up top. The Dear John podcast does not condone domestic violence for any reason. There's no excuse for domestic abuse on either part, man, woman, child, none of that. None of it is any good. Now, your situation may be rare, but I'm sure somewhere out there are battered husbands, battered boyfriends who are terrorized by their wives and their girlfriends. And listen, I think that is absolutely hilarious. I know it's not funny. Okay, it's definitely not funny, but I do think that is absolutely hilarious. Okay. Your woman being able to beat you in a fight may not on its own be a good enough reason for you to leave her. Now, if she's just punking you every day, now that's a reason to leave. Like if she's just like every day, she making you get out the bathroom before you ready. She's like, get out the bathroom. And you haven't finished washing up or whatever. You haven't finished showering and you got to go to work stanky because you don't want to go to work bloodied up and, with a split lip and a black eye. Yeah, it might be time to leave. I mean, if you're like in fear, constant fear, and if all she has to do is like you making noise and she watching TV, and if all she has to do is give you a look, that look like your mother used to give you when you were about to touch something, it might be time to leave, because now you're living in fear and terror, and that's not good. So hopefully, like I said, man, just don't, piss her off or whatever. But again, there's no excuse on either part. And, if she does hit you, it's not your fault. You deserve better and you can do better. But, yeah, that's a different problem. Anyway, I think we're going to cut it here. A shorter episode tonight. But I could use some more emails, y'all. Dear John Podcast at dearjohn.com, dearjohnpodcast@gmail.com. And if you don't know by now, you can catch me on Facebook. You can catch me on Twitter, John B. Moody at Twitter, and on Instagram, which I rarely use to go on, JBMoody716. That's the Instagram handle. I don't know my MySpace password anymore, so I can't log on to MySpace. It's still there. It's still a thing. They still have the page, but I can't log on to it. And I think the email address that I used as a backup no longer exists, or that. So, yeah, it's a wrap. Anyway, all right, y'all. Hope y'all have a good weekend as we're towards the end of the week on this one. I try to get these out on Wednesday, but got a little held up. So it'll be Friday or maybe Thursday night if I get this thing done now. And y'all have a great weekend, and I will catch y'all sometime next week. Take care.
July, some fly-ish. We'll try this on the side. Yeah, bottoms. Big bag of bottoms. Bump for you boys on the block. Okay.